Hello everyone, I'm Penross776. We've got a new Mythic trailer here. I'm super excited to see this one because defense Mythics, you know defense is my jam. That silhouette isn't very Medeus? That's Medeus, right? It is! Oh, look at him, look at him. He's so chunky and lovely and evil. We've got his kit here. Medeus is a colorless dragon, a colorless infantry dragon, funnily enough. He is a dark mythic, so he's going to be on dark defense alongside Note and alongside everyone else. And did I mention, weirdly enough, he's an infantry unit. Now, based on his art and based on how chunky looking he was, I just kind of naturally assumed that he would be an armored dragon, much like Duma and Tiki and Edan and all those other really beefy dragons. No. This, my friends, is an infantry Medeus. What do you make of that? Well, I think that's pretty cool, and he's an attack mythic on Dark Season. First, let's start with his weapon, although I see some interesting stuff down there as well. His weapon is Shadow Breath, because he is the titular Shadow Dragon, right? Grants attack +3 at start of turn. Grants attack res +6 and on guard to unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit for 1 turn. If foe initiates combat, or if foe's HP is greater than or equal to 75% at start of combat, inflicts attack res -6 on foe during combat, and foe cannot make a follow-up attack. If foe's range equals 2, calculates damage using the lower of foe's defense or res, because he's a dragon. Now here's the exciting thing, what the heck does On Guard do? The On Guard status neutralizes damage outside of combat from skills like Poison Strike, structures like Bolt, Tower, etc., except damage dealt by area of effect specials. Okay, so... well, AoEs are still safe, roughly safe, approximately safe, but Bolt, Tower, are you telling me that the absolute bane of my entire existence, Bolt Tower, is no longer a problem at all? Are you telling me that I can finally move Madang Catapult to not be protecting my safe units all the darn time and I can just let Medeus handle it? Because Medeus can do that. He's a great guy. Lovely guy, Medeus. Glad to have him on the team. I don't have him on the team yet, but you can bet your nuts I will do soon enough. Yeah, Bolt Tower, 45 damage. In a lot of situations, that is going to bring any unit down to a point where you can kill them. Right? There are very, very few units in this game who can survive when missing 45 hit points. Medeus says, no. Why did you bring a Bolt Tower, you fool, you buffoon? Shadow Breath, On Guard, beautiful. He's got Glacies, of course. He's got Defense Res Ideal 4 at start of combat if unit's HP is equal to 100%, or if bonus is active on unit, because it's an ideal skill. Defense Res +7 and goes up to Defense Res +9 if he's got both. So this is a real tanky boy by the looks of it. Yeah, I mean, he's got a massive attack swing and res swing in his weapon. Now he's stacking both defense and res as well. And he also prevents foe's follow-up attack. What's in his B slot, do you think? Assured Rebirth. This is his PRF B slot. If unit's res is greater than foe's res, the unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack, reduces damage from attacks during combat and from area of effect specials, excluding Roka area of effect specials, by percentage equal to number of staff or dragon allies within 3 spaces of unit times 20, and also if unit's res is greater than foe's res difference between stats times 4, max 40%, total max 60%. Hang on. Give me a second to figure this one out. Okay, so that's very confusingly worded, but I think I get it. Key points, he can get up to 60% damage reduction. How can he get it? Well, up to 40% from Dragon Wall. But on top of that, 20% for every staff and dragon ally within 3 spaces. So if he has 10 more res from you, he's getting 40% from Dragon Wall. 1 staff or dragon ally pushes that up to 60%. Any extra staff or dragon allies do nothing. If he has if he has 5 more res from you, then he gets 20% from Dragon Wall. You can push that up to 40% with 1 staff or dragon nearby, or 60% with 2 staffs or dragons nearby. If he doesn't win the res check, he can still hit the full 60% by just having 3 staffs or 3 dragons within his free space radius. So, yeah, that is a better Dragon Wall. And let's not forget, unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack if he wins the res check as well. And that's just for regular base sold res check. It's not a res plus 10 check like Dragon Wall, right? So, at this point already, not only is he very tanky, but he is just overall a very strong combat unit. He's getting effectively 12 attack, assuming he's hitting res from his weapon. He's getting a followed up attack for free if he out-reses you, which hopefully he is. And then he's effectively reducing your attack by 6 and then stacking up to 60% damage reduction. Put that all together, what do you get? Tanky, strong, follow-up control, looking very much like an armored dragon again, but he's an infantry dragon, which actually might even make him tankier because it means he no longer has that armor weakness even. And in his C slot, one more extremely spicy skill. You're looking at Canto Control free. If foe within 4 spaces of unit triggers Canto, inflicts Canto Control on that foe, which you might know from... what's her face? Tip of my tongue. What's her name? Mikoto. That's who I'm thinking of. Her staff got this first. You might know it from her. Limits the number of spaces target can move with Canto through their next action. If their range equals 1, they can move only 1 space. If their range equals 2, they don't get Canto. They don't get any Canto at all. So Mikoto, it was fun while it lasted, being the only unit with Canto control, but now, my friends, it is inheritable. And I'm really interested to see exactly who this is inheritable on. Because, well, let's just say, if it's inheritable on any unit that is currently on your defense team and is not already using their C slot for something else, this is a really strong C slot to have at least one of. Medeus here, putting all of this together, is more or less forcing Dark Season to become the season of Catria save, because you can no longer really easily player phase down those teams anymore with the help of Bolt Tower, and you can no longer easily hit and run those teams anymore with the help of all your fancy smanchy Canto units. So, either you've got to break through them, or you've got to tank them, and Catria save can't be broken through, and it's very difficult to tank because of Catria altogether. Well, if I was in a lot of people's positions, I would hate this. I personally really like the Catria save teams, and I'm also pretty decent at beating them with my own offense team, so I don't mind this that much. I think this will actually help me win a lot. But for everyone else, this is going to be an absolutely horrible time, because the only way you can get rid of that Kanto control or let your Bolt Tower go off is killing him. And how are you going to kill him if he's covered by saves? And even if he isn't covered by saves, how are you going to kill him? Because look at how bloomin' tanky this guy is. Good frickin' luck. Well, let's keep going and take a look at his animations and all that, as well as who's on the banner with him. Ah, big purpley dragon. Breathes at you. Yep, that's what dragons do. Good job. There's Kanto control activating. And we get to see his stats. Yeah, that is a 2022 stat spread, alright? 18 speed. Everything else really high. Ooh, big glacies too. Alright, who's on the banner? With Medeus. Julia. Alright. Altina. Mirabilis. Hell. That's a Dimitri. I can never tell them apart. Duo Micaiah. Ota. Alright. 4. Flavia. Elamine. And Ascendant Idun. Those all are pretty great units, not gonna lie. It's a legendary banner, well, a mythic banner, of course. Let's have the FEH Spark screen come up, and we'll take a look at the colors. So, going color by color. Colorless. Medeus is, I think, quite possibly the best dark mythic for your Catria safe teams. Note still may be better if you're running some sort of cavalry line or a note line, but Catria safe, Medeus is shutting down hit and run and shutting down Bolt Tower, wiping out your team. That's crazy sauce, that is. That is categorically crazy sauce. Shared with him on this banner, Elamine, who is probably the strongest Astra offense mythic. And then your third slot here, Duo Micaiah. Now, Duo Micaiah not really so much of an Aether unit as the others, although can be made very strong in Aether, but what she does have is, in my humble opinion, the strongest duo skill in the game, more or less. Well, I mean, the extra actions duo skills are also quite possibly the strongest, but Duo Micaiah, being able to give units dominance, being able to give pretty much your whole team dominance, is an easy recipe for just blowing most tanky units right out of the water. Not sure how much you guys know about dominance, but I've seen things of, because you can get easily -7 to all stats, so that's a plus 28 to damage right there from dominance. If you can do that to a unit, then, well, they're probably dead. A 28 attack swing is the sort of thing you normally only see if you're doing some absolutely ridiculous things, and dominance lets you do it just from having good debuff applications. Pretty nuts. Second best color here is a tough one. I would lean towards maybe green being second best here, but it's hard to say. Green has Hell, who is still a pretty decent defense mythic. 4, who is nice to have, not quite as impactful as Elmoon, but still really useful for that world breaker and can crack open an armor every now and then. And Ota, who is one of only 2 extra slot anima mythics, so you either need him or Saros if you want that extra slot. That alone makes him very valuable to have, even if I think his actual kit isn't really the greatest. All 3 pretty decent, but not necessarily the strongest in their slot units. Blue, on the other hand, has 2 incredibly strong units in the form of Dimitri and Ascendant Idun. Ascendant Idun, I think, maybe the strongest save unit in the game right now. Dimitri, maybe... Well, he's Dimitri. Dimitri lovers out there know that Dimitri can do things really well. And there's a lot of Dimitri lovers out there, so I have to see the things that Dimitri lovers do, so I can confirm Dimitri still really strong. But unfortunately, 3rd unit here, Legendary Julia. Now, Legendary Julia is mirror impact for her, but she's kind of falling behind the curve a little. Hopefully, she's getting a remix relatively soon, but the main thing that's holding her back is quite simply the fact that her weapon relies on winning an attack check against the opponent, and she is an old unit. It used to be, right? It used to be when she came out that Legendary Julia was pretty much unassailable because she would win that attack check. There was no contesting it, more or less. Give her good skills and she just has more attack than you. What are you going to do about it? But nowadays, that doesn't happen nearly as often. A lot of new units these days are coming out with 40 or more base attack, and scramble that all together, Julia is having a hard time with beating them out, especially when you take their own better weapon effects into the equation. And then last but not least, Red. Red has Mirabilis, who I think is the best anima mythic, but it also has Altina, who I think is the worst Astra mythic. And then in the 3rd slot, Flavia, who is really good and has some pretty great fodder, but is also just kind of there, really. You, as a player, probably know if you want Flavia or not. So, what am I doing? I'm pulling colorless, for sure. I want that Medeus. I've got to have my Medeus. You won't like me until I've had my Medeus. Put that on a mug. But I'm kind of conflicted about the other colors. I've told you the rule of Mythic and Legendary banners already, which is if you are pulling on a color that has a unit you do not want, you will get that unit. So, blue, red, both of them have some units that I personally would be really happy to get copies of, but they also have Altina and Legendary. Well, actually, I think I'd be happy pulling on blue because if I got more copies of Legendary Julia, I can still make use of them. But I really don't want any more Altinas, frankly. And green I'm also kind of torn on as well, but thinking about it, more 4s is more offense merges, and the other Oda I still need just so I have the option of using Oda, and Hell I am currently using on Dark Season, and might continue to use, depending on the scenario. So yeah, I think I'm pulling colorless, blue, green, and I'll think about red. But tell me what you guys think in the comments below, and tell me if you're pulling or not, and tell me what you think Medeus is going to do to our lovely Fire Emblem heroes, and I well, have nothing left to say. I guess I will see you all next time. Ta-ra!